Hello everyone, this is Jibby and welcome to episode 6 of SevTech Ages. Last episode we left off with the crafting of all these Better with Mods components. So let's set up, or I guess I already set up, the very basic kinetic energy system that this mod provides. So let me show you how it works. First of all, there's the energy is provided by a water wheel. Since we can't move water yet, I had to build it right on the river's edge here. Right, it's just your standard water flows along a water wheel to provide energy type system. I think it's binary. Like, is it spinning, is it not spinning? At least as far as I can tell. I don't know if they're like immersive engineering water wheels where, you know, if you get water to spin like all the way around it, you get more energy. But either way, I'm not terribly concerned. So with that, we can power a couple axles, split the energy, and there's two machines we're powering right now. One is a saw and one is a turntable. So the saw can be used to cut down wood. Let's take this wood plank here. Just place it in front of the saw and it'll cut it into siding, and then we can cut the siding again. And that'll cut into molding, and you guessed it, we can cut that again. And that'll cut into corners. And if we cut that one last time, we get gears. So this is just a much easier way of making wooden gears than the glue recipe. So moving on, we needed the saw to make the turntable, and the turntable I believe is used to make clay buckets. So if we look at the uses for the turntable, we can make, let's see, crucibles, planters, vases, or vases, barrels, blah blah blah. This was what we want. So by putting a unfired clay barrel extension on there, we can make a clay bucket, which is our first water, transportation thing. Right, so let's get some clay and try it out. I don't quite remember how this works. We could read the book or we could experiment, and experimentation's pretty fun, right? Worst case, we waste a little bit of precious clay. So we're going to need a lot of clay buckets because they break if you use them to transport hot fluids. So I think what you do is you just place it on there and then you right click something. Probably not with stuff in your hand. Alright, I think let's just look it up. So we're not bumbling idiots here. So we have the turntable. It requires mechanical power from the bottom. I see. When given a redstone signal, will rotate in reverse. So from left to right, the switch changes. I think you want the switch all the way to the left, and you want to power it from the bottom, which we are not doing. So let's change that. Pick that up. Pick this up. So the way, actually, do I have a spare gearbox by chance? I do. So the way the Better with Mods kinetic power system works is that to change the direction of the energy, you need a gearbox. So we can do that. Put a gearbox here. You have to, this side is the input side, which obviously is not the side we actually want input on for now. So I think by shift right clicking you can rotate, so no wrench is required. And then since this requires energy from the bottom, can I put it directly here? Or do I need an axle? I suspect I need an axle, but we'll find out. This is one of those, I don't know, somewhat archaic style mods, I feel. But low tech has its place too, I guess. So yeah, I think, whoopsies. I think you need an axle? Based on the fact that it's not turning. Alright, let me get an axle. It's going to result in this machine being placed like 70,000 blocks in the air, but... There we go. So you just place it there. and then after a couple seconds it becomes the other block, and then you can pick it up. And then we just rinse and repeat. No, can't shit. There we go. So you just put the unfired clay barrel extension there and pick up the clay bucket when it's done. So I'll turn all these into buckets, and then I think when we cook them we can complete the quest. Alright, our buckets are cooking, and next up, I guess we'll grab one to complete the quest. Next up we have this bottom line, which is Astral Sorcery. So we need to make parchment. Probably should clean up my inventory at some point too. Parchment, I guess this is the easy recipe, but we need a Luminous crafting table and stage 2 to do it, so we have to do it this way. Washi, which I guess is a type of paper, and aquamarines. So we need to press mulberry sheets, which is mulberry pulps. How many? 4 make 1, and we need 4 washes. We only need 1 parchment to make the Astro Tome. Oh. Wait. 1 to make the Astro Tome for now. Alright, so we need 4 mulberry sheets, which is 16 mulberry pulps, which is 16 soaked mulberry pulps. And that's just crafting a fluid bladder with mulberry bark. Okay, so one of the other things that saw did for us was that we were able to make mulberry bark. So let's take 16 of it. I'm going to clean up my inventory and make these off camera, and then we'll be back when we're ready to dive deeper into Astral Sorcery. Alright, we can now make our Astro Tome. We can almost make our Astro Tome at least. This will be the documentation book for Astral Sorcery. And in many regards, I think it's very similar to the Thaumcraft one. If you guys know the Thaumcraft book from 1.7. It is, oops, I don't think I needed that many. Well, it is a pretty good book. It's very in-depth. Here, I'll just show you instead of talking about it. So when you open it, you have these chapters. For now, we only have the Discovery chapter unlocked. You can either double-click it or scroll into it. And in here, you have all these categories. And as you accomplish various tasks in these categories, you'll gradually unlock more and more chapters. The only annoying feature of it is if you are scrolled into, like if you go into one of these pages and you right click, it brings you back to here. If you're on this page and you right click, it closes the book. Whereas I expect it to bring you back to here. So if I know in the Thaumcraft book, if you were in one of the chapters and you right click, it brings you up a level. So I don't know. My muscle memory always has me right click when I want to zoom out from here to here, and it results in me closing the book on accident a lot. Anyways, our next task is to make the Luminous crafting table. So I don't think it's made the normal way here because none of the Astral Sorcery structures world gen. Right, normally you put a crafting table underneath one of the like the world gen collector crystals and do something with that. But not so here. So this is made with 2 reinforced slates, 4 aquamarine, and some marble, and in another Necronomicon ritual. I had already started charging our Necronomicon over there. Hopefully it didn't spawn anything too nasty. So let's just gather up the 2 reinforced slates we need, and hopefully we can get ourselves into Age 2. Yeah, I'll just be back when I have those crafted up. Alright, I think it's time. Let's finish up Age 1 and craft this Starlight crafting table, whatever it's called. Luminous crafting table. I hope it doesn't require a sacrifice. Glad it doesn't, because I didn't check that before I started. Alright, here we go. And when I pick this up, expect a little lag spike as the achievements load in. Alright, welcome to Age 2. Let's take a look at what Age 2 unlocks. Age 2 unlocks a lot of stuff, so I guess let's start from the top. The Between Lands is an exploration mod that we'll have to get into because it gates a lot of progression. Perhaps most importantly, it gates the Tinker's Construct smeltery, which includes stuff like iron buckets. Let's see. We have access to storage drawers, awesome. up to tier 3 blood magic altars, making paper, breeding wool and glass. We also have access to stardust, lapis, iron, and gold. We have all the basic Tinker's Construct stuff available right off the bat, and looks like our progression line is doing a bit more Astral Sorcery and eventually making a combustion engine so we can get into, power production. Cool. So let me think about what exactly we're going to tackle next. I also have to, I guess, make a world download available at this point. So give me a second to figure out where we're going to go from here, because I think we have a lot of options. I'll be right back. Alright, I took a look at some of the various options we have right now, and I think the best thing to tackle first is to upgrade our prospecting pick so that we can more easily find all these metals and go find at least one vein of each of rock crystal, well, we can maybe skip rock crystal for now, but lapis, iron, and gold, and dig it up just a little bit. From there, I want to get into Tinker's tools, perhaps look into making, I think hammers are available. Yeah, we can make, we can make a Tinker's hammer, which will give us access to 3x3 mining until we get, which we'll use for a while until we get far enough in Astral Sorcery to get 5x5 mining. And then from there, I think the next goal will be the smeltery controller, although that might be a little ways out. So first things first, to upgrade our dowsing rod, we need to make glass. So the tier 2 dowsing rod, the tough dowsing rod, uses a piece of glass, and everything else is very easy. But glass is a little tricky. To make glass, you have to cast it from molten glass in a smeltery, or in a the thing we have in the background right there. And this comes from melting sand. So let's go get some sand and start the process. Because our thing can only, our melter is very slow right now. It can only process 3 things at a time. This process will take quite a while to make a large amount of glass. So what I'm thinking is we'll only make as much as we really need for now, but later when we upgrade to the smeltery, we can begin mass producing glass. So I'm just having it finish up the last couple pieces of copper. Actually, do I even need... Let's see. I don't want to waste any copper, so I wanted to, end up on just the right amount. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. So once it's done melting all this copper, I'll make some glass, make that dowsing rod, and then we can go on a journey to look for these tier 2 resources. Be right back. So I made the tough dowsing rod, but before I head out, I heard a rumor that the tool forge, even though it says it can only be made with iron, the other recipes are still enabled, just hidden to not clutter up JEI, so that any metal block works. So I'm in the process of almost done casting our third block of whatchamacallit, seared stone, and then I'll see if we can make a tool forge. If we can, then I'll make a hammer out of like bronze and copper before we go, so that we get 3x3 mining, right? Because that'll be a lot faster than trying to mine out all these metals with our poor little black quartz pickaxe. So as soon as a couple more pieces of the grout melt down, in the meantime, I guess I can set up our work line here. So we also have access to the Tinker's crafting station now, which, if you remember, is just, it holds stuff in it when you leave it, so that it doesn't spit the materials back into your inventory. And I forgot to build a pattern inscriber. What is that thing called? The thing in Tinker's that makes patterns, Stencil table, this thing. It's probably done. Let's see, we need a pattern chest. Then we need a tool, a part builder, part chest, and I appear to have run out of space. We'll fix it later. And a tool station. And with any luck, we can turn that tool station into a tool forge. So let's see if this rumor is correct. Obviously, I need 4 blocks of metal. I think the thing I have most of is tin, so let's see if we can use tin. Alright, here's a big moment. Hey, that's exciting. So we can actually make ourselves a tinker's hammer before we go mining. Alright, so let me stop. Well, I'll melt out the remainder of the grout just to cast it. No, I won't. I'll hang on to this for later. I'll melt down these 3 to make 1 more block, but then I think I'll make us a basic like bronze, copper hammer, and then we can go mining. So see you when that's done. It took a long time to melt all this bronze and copper in the that tiny little melter, but I think we're ready to make our hammer. Now we have 2 options. We can either make all the functional bits out of bronze, which gives us a 1200 durability tool, or we can replace one of the hammer heads with stone. And I think this, let's compare. We lose some durability and a little bit of mining speed, but in exchange we get cheapskate. No, that's bad. But we get the ability to repair it with stone, and I think that's worth it. So let's make this tool, and then the other stuff I think I have enough for is all the components for I can find it, a lumber axe. So once again, I'll make a bunch of components out of stone, just because I don't think it really matters. So once again, diamond mining levels, stone, bronze, lumber axe. So with this, we can now chop trees much more easily. This should chop the whole thing. Oh, how wonderful. And since part of it is stone, we can repair it with stone instead of having to use the far more expensive... is it still chopping? Looks like it is. Instead of having to use the far more expensive bronze. So let me... Well, I guess I'll finish chopping the tree, and then we can go find ourselves some, iron veins or whatever to mine. So, see you soon. Alright, one last thing before we head out mining, I promise. We can make a slime sling now that we're in stage 2. So, here we have it. And now we made slime boots last age, so now when we shoot ourselves with a slime sling, we go flying, and we land in gunk. But yeah, we can use this as a much faster way of getting around than like horses and stuff. And later, through Astral Sorcery, we'll probably pick up something like Elytra style flight, which combines very well with this type of thing. So anyways, let's see if we can find some veins. Looking for iron or gold or star metal or lapis. So yep, see you when I'm done mining. I was able to mine out the entirety of a vein this time. This was a gold vein, so I think it was a little smaller, but it's what, like 7 stacks? And it used most of our hammer durability, so I think I'm going to have to carry around the tool forge with us to repair the hammer on the road. But I think it's time to head back, drop this stuff off, and now look for iron or lapis. Alright, dug out a small lapis vein and got probably enough lapis for now. With that, we can put fortune on our on our hammer, so that when we mine things that have like this lapis, right, that drops. As I assume this is affected by fortune. I guess I don't really have a way to tell, but anyways, that can allow us to emboss this with fortune. So back in a sec. All right, looks like I'm wrong. We can't apply modifiers yet in age 2. Maybe we have to get to age 3 before we're allowed to do so. So I guess all this lapis, it'll just sit around. Well, I'm sure it's useful for something, just not for this yet. So now we just have to find what's left: iron and rock crystal. Awesome. So pretty close to our base, I found a rock crystal sample. If you look, our base is just down there, which means this one vein will probably provide enough rock crystal for most of the rest of the game. So let's just find it. Now what I do is I've been checking a a table. I guess if I can link it in the description. That has the Y levels that all these things spawn at. So in the case of rock crystal, well, that's awkward. It's not on this. So I know it's pretty far down, so I'll probably have to dig down a ways to find it. But yeah, when I get there, I'll show you how many rock crystals we can get out of one vein. Alright, I'll be honest, I expected a little bit more rock crystal than this. I think this vein got clipped by this cave system here, so not much of the ore actually spawned. But let's mine it, see how much we get. It'll probably still be a good, I don't know, 20 to 30 rock crystals. They don't stack, so they take up infinite space, which is why I brought some of these crates with us. They're like the immersive engineering crates. They hold their inventory when they break. So we can fill it up. So what is this, 17? Well, that's a lot less than I was hoping for, but I guess I'll take it. And then you can just shift right click it to pick it up. So I'm going to go to the surface too and pick up those rock crystal samples up there because that's like another 2. Anyways, I think 19 rock crystals is enough to get us started in Astral Sorcery. Now, where did I come down from? Somewhere around here. I just dug a hole straight down. Anyways, and then I still have to find an iron vein though before we can continue. There it is. So time to head back to the surface. So I guess these surface samples, instead of giving rock crystals, they give stardust, which is probably even more valuable. So I'm happy to grab a little bit of it. Let's make sure we get all of it, because stardust at this stage in the game is actually maybe even like one of the hardest things in Astral Sorcery to produce. Those in this chunk, looks like we only got 2. That's unfortunate. Oh well. There's a gold vein right next to it. At least I think this is gold. But yeah, we don't need more gold yet, so I'm just going to mark it and move on, and then we can look for a proper iron vein. Alright, hopefully that doesn't take too long. Having gathered all the ores, the next step to making our smeltery is to get into the Betweenlands. That says we have to locate a druid circle in the swamp biome, which I just did. That's right there. And if we look at the map, we are quite a ways from home. We went through a jungle along the way too. Let's mark this in case we have to come back later. So next we have to, I believe we have to kill the druids and use their talisman pieces to create the swamp talisman. Click the talisman on a sapling to create a portal. Alright, so I think when I approach this, it'll spawn some mobs. Didn't really make a good weapon, so I guess I'm still using the tier 1 weapon. And so this is how you create the staff. You just right click it onto, or you put the components in here and this makes the staff. But how do I summon the druids? Let me, wait, never mind, there he is. Alright, so we just have to kill a few of these. They don't look too tough. I think I read somewhere that they have they cast spells at you. One of them makes you levitate. The idea is, you know, you eventually die of fall damage. But we have slime boots, so we don't take fall damage. Anyways, it looks like they spawn very slowly. So we might be here a little bit. Yeah, well, they don't even levitate you all that far. We haven't even gotten a drop yet. Anyways, I'll probably just kill these for a little bit, and then I'll come back when I have all the components. Alright, I killed maybe 20-ish of them and gathered all the pieces. I wonder, do they aggro me if I leave them alone? Looks like they do. That's obnoxious. Anyways, that we can put these in here, and then I think that will begin crafting. And hey, I'm leaving you alone, so you leave me alone, okay? Anyways, while that crafts, I'll show you. I also made the Gluttony Charm. It just took a couple blocks of gold. And this gives us fast eating. So when we eat, it's basically instant eating. It'll really come in handy when we're vein mining later, so that we can just keep on vein mining. So while this crafts, oh, it's done. Now we have a swamp talisman. So the way this works is, does it have durability? It does not. So we can right click any tree that has a sufficient clearing around it. I'll do this just to demonstrate. I don't actually want to enter, or maybe it has to be a sapling. I don't actually want to enter the whatever that biome or whatever that place is called, the Betweenlands yet. So if I do that, there we go. It creates this tree with portals in it, and then these portals take us to the Betweenlands. So having made this here, I really hope that they don't end up being like nether portals where this one will end up the one in my base will end up linking to this one. But anyways, let's head back home. It's quite a trip, so if we look, we're home's here, we're here. That's the furthest we've explored previously, so we're probably a good like 4,000 or 5,000 blocks away. So anyways, time to slime sling our way back home, and I'll see you there when we're ready to make another one of these Betweenlands portals. That was quite a journey back home, but we made it. So let's get ready to plant our sapling and turn it into the tree. Voila. So I think when I go through, let's just go through once real quick and see how it works. I think all the food I have in my inventory will rot so that it will no longer be usable, but let's see what happens if I keep some food in my backpack. The idea kind of is that when you go to the Betweenlands, you kind of have to like start over a little bit. Anyways, it'll lag a bit on the transition and I don't want to cut out. Alright, so we made it to the Betweenlands. Whoa, I guess our tree cut into something and we got some swamp reeds. So let's see what it looks like out here. Looks very, whoa. Very, I don't know, murky, muddy. What we're looking for here is a aqua middle gem. Actually, let's take a quick look, see if we can find it. But looks like our food survived the trip. Maybe it's only vanilla food that doesn't. We can also normal torches wouldn't survive the trip, but torches placed with a torch launcher do. So let's mark this in our book. Where are we? We'll call this the portal. So what is this biome called? Did I still have this side. This creeping moss is normally used to change the biome in the hunting dimension, but you can also use it to get a readout of the actual biome type. So let's take a quick look around. Wait, found it. Is that it? If this is it, that's quite convenient, because then we don't have to... I don't actually know if this tool will get it. It will, okay. Well then, how do I process this? I need a purifier and some sulfur. So if I can find some sulfur and octane and weedwood... Okay, so it's... I guess it takes a bit more than just finding the ore. But yeah, give me a second to make some preparations before we explore the Betweenlands too much more. But our goal will be to process that ore down so that we can make the smeltery controller. So see you in a second. Alright, I took a quick look at what all our journey through the Betweenlands is going to involve, and I think it's a bit more than I want to try to squeeze into this episode. So how about we, we'll end this episode here. It's a little short, but you'll be fine. Next episode, we'll come back and explore the Betweenlands and see if we can get ourselves a Tinker's Construct smeltery. So I hope you like this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.